Good morning. Not sure if you can hear me over the top of the engine, but that's the Renogy 50 amp B2B maintaining these three batteries with the engine running, 4.5 amps, and that's with the heater running as well. This is just a first test to verify that the battery function worked. I've now got the mains hookup plugged in, and the Sterling Power battery charger is now running. It's very cold today, so although it's set for an AGM1 profile, which is 14.4 volts, the temperature compensation provided by the sensor in that white lid there is pushing the voltage up to 14.8 volts. And as you can probably see, it's drawing 3.4 amps. That's to charge both this set of batteries here, or three of them, and the chassis battery via that dirty great thick cable there. I've made this panel up out of, this was originally the plywood base to the tray that was in the comms cabinet. It's about the right size. I've kept all the cables long because the chances are this panel won't actually remain here. It could well end up somewhere else in the vehicle, or behind the batteries or whatever. So what we've got there is the Renogy DCS50 charger. The red light means it's currently detecting greater than 13.2 volts from the chassis battery as a result of the power being provided by this charger here. The second LED would be for the solar panels when they're connected. The third LED indicates that the service or auxiliary batteries are fully charged, and the final LED indicates the battery type. And it's a very simple controller. They will be releasing a remote control for it at some point in time with some monitoring perhaps, but at the moment it's a very simple controller. Just got a button to change the battery chemistry. It's really very nice. The bolts for mounting cables on are really sensibly designed. I'm quite impressed with it. So what we've got over here, as I said, is the main charger, two 60 amp fuses on that side there for the chassis battery and the auxiliary batteries. Dirty great big fuse under there simply provide connectivity between that cable and the battery charger. There's two cables running out of the bottom of that big fuse on the right. One is the output from this charge here, and the other one is the input through another 60 amp fuse into the Renogy unit. Another 60 amp fuse dead centre there, which is the output from the Renogy unit. A connector block which really ought to be replaced with an isolation switch at some point in time. That cord up wire on the left there is the surplus for the temperature sensor for the Renogy unit, and you can see it just clipped into a holder there. And then this fuse holder is also the fuse holder that was on this green panel that connected up all the trackers and GPS sensors and all the other bits and pieces for the comms unit, and I've just reused that to provide core functionality. So from left to right, I've provided fused connections for the reversing sensors and the reverse speaker. There's a connection there which the third connection will be for the under cabinet lighting, and as you can see the fuse is missing at the moment because obviously they're not in place. The fourth connection is for the backlighting for those switches over there. The fifth and sixth connections are for the Webasto heater. One is for the controller and one is for the actual heater itself, 3 amp and 25 amp fuses. And the last connection is a 15 amp fuse for the ramp, because that's fully operational, and then there's one spare. And that basically made use of bits and pieces that came out of the vehicle. All the cabling is the original cabling that came out of the vehicle. The batteries are in their original location. These could well end up somewhere else. The whole point of this exercise was to restore core functionality, but do it so that, if necessary, they can go somewhere else. So I've left all the cables long, and if necessary, they can all be pulled back. I mean, they're all cable tied up. There it is. They're all cable tied up through there. There's a lot less cabling up there now than there was, but it can still go wherever she wants to put it. I just wanted to make sure I could make everything work. Then we've got, it says getting up. Creak groan, creak groan. This is the original control panel. I left the Genesis controller in. It's not connected or anything like that. It's just there for a novelty. I've made sure the central locking still works off this switch here, because that'd be useful. I've repurposed the intercom switch, now it turns the heater on and off, because you don't want the controller powered up all the time, otherwise the heater will be running unnecessarily. That last switch is spare. I don't know whether you can change the legends on these or not, but you can see they're illuminated, they've got little LEDs in the back of them, and that's just sitting there tied in with a bit of string. There's one of the cables for the under locker lighting, and that red flagged one there is the actual live feed when the fuse is fitted from the back of the van. Then all the cabling is literally just tied up in its original location, except for this stuff up here, which I've pushed up out the way. I don't know where it's going to end up, but it originally was sort of like it dangled, it went sort of like that, round there like that. It was just sort of hanging in thin air over the top of the locker before. Then we got the mains hookup consumer unit there, and yes, it is square and straight. It's that piece of ply where they've stuck on the side, which is all crooked. Again, there's surplus cable there, because that could well end up somewhere else. It may even get relocated to the back of the van. And we've got a total of the best side of, what, 3 up there, 4.5 along there, another 2 along there, another 3. Best side of probably 14 metres of mains cable running through there. And this is the Arctic Blue stuff. This is the right thing to use in a van. It's rated down to -40 degrees centigrade. The sleeving is extremely tough, and then I've actually routed it through into a piece of conduit as well. Then we've got an earth bonding. Can you see it? Probably not. But the mains input socket is earth bonded up to the earthing point up there, and the same at the back as well. The charger is earth bonded. There's a chassis bond connection point behind all this lot. So that's it. That's job done. I think I might have mentioned before, that is the leftovers from the patient winch. I can't get it out, the exhaust needs to be dropped off to get the bolts undone. And it would be dangerous to cut them off, because you'd end up with very heavy, nasty 3-inch square steel plates flying out at some point in time from the back of the vehicle. So there's an exercise there. The heater's all wired up and working, as I said, works fine independently of the vehicle. So you may need to get underneath, or get somebody underneath to relocate that cable there. It goes to the fuel pump. Again, there's the exhaust in the way, you can't actually get to it easily at the moment, but that needs to be moved. There's one earth wire that which I've left in place, because I would suggest that when that pump cable is moved, the earth be put through the same hole and just earth somewhere else to the vehicle. I've put the interior back together as best as possible. Seats are all in place. There's the cable under there that I ran, which is front to back for the charging. It's in a better position than the original cables. The original cables run dead centre to the battery, and they would have been trodden all the time when this is a walkway. So I put it there. It's not ideal. Maybe there's another route through, but I can't get under the vehicle to work on it, and I'm basically not prepared to anyway. So that will do for the time being. I've put the dashboard back together as best as possible. This was in a horrible state. It had been apart and left apart when it arrived, and nearly every single screw was missing or in the wrong place. But it's back together the best it could. I removed the speed limiter or whatever it was. I still don't know what it actually did. I haven't detected any difference at all. It's just removed because it's just another thing that could go wrong in the future. I don't like, I think I mentioned this before, I don't like the way the ambient converter installed that cable there. That's right where your heels rest. That will need protecting with some thick matting, which is obviously what was originally there. But they're stupid to run the cable like that. It really is a dumb thing to do. Unfortunately, the cabling is way too short to actually relocate it anywhere else. And again, it needs to do it. I think it'd have to come out underneath the vehicle and be presented some other way, which I can't do. The headline is Sally took home to clean, so we've got some spare cables there, which are all labelled up. Lighting cables for when they get reconnected. But and then the last thing dangly there, that's the temperature sensor for the heater. And I've just left it. It can be pulled back or relocated. Originally, it was about sort of there-ish on the wall, I think. The air conditioning unit, its cable harness is coiled up at the back there, and same little coils of wire left, right and centre for the various external lights, which will need to be wired to something. It's just there isn't something to wire it to. Same at the back, they're the scene lights, again just left them coiled up because they will get reused, but I don't know where to or when or who by. So there we go, that's pretty much a summary of work as planned. I'm about to, once I finish working on the horse box, I've got my horse box on jack stands at the moment. 2 of the tyres perished and went bang, so I'm going to move the horse box into the field once I put new tyres on it, and then this van is going to go up the side of my garage out of the way, because the next job for me is to bring my crafter in here and begin work on that. There you go, there won't be any more updates on this vehicle for several weeks, if not months, because I don't know what Sally's plans are for it or when she intends to come and get it. Anyway, thanks for watching.